I'm about to share with you one of the most beautiful manifestation success stories that I've ever received. It's filled with romance, it's filled with paths meeting in a divine, perfect way. It's filled with personal growth, with healing, and with everything unfolding in its perfect timing. And the best part of all is that it's a true story from a beautiful subscriber of mine. Her name is Andrea. She manifested her dream husband, the love of her life. I want you to notice how not only is it about bringing stuff to you, it's also a story of allowing yourself to receive it. So I invite you to get comfortable, to get yourself a nice drink. I've got myself a collagen tea here, and so it's story time. Let's read Andrea's beautiful story together. About 35 years ago, yikes, time flies, I moved out to California from New York, where I'd grown up. I had fallen in love with horses and the cowboy way of life, and I decided to move out west and become a cowgirl the second I graduated college. This is so American, I love it already. First of all, I worked on a beautiful ranch in Colorado, but it got too cold for me to settle down there. Then I moved to Arizona and worked on a ranch for a year or so, till it got too hot. I finally ended up in Northern California, where I've been ever since. After a year or two of cocktail waitressing and earning enough money to pay my rent and horse stable fees, I decided to return to school for counseling. I had struggled with addictions and a severe eating disorder, and I felt that I wanted to help others to climb out of the pit that I had been living in. So back to school I went. I'm going to add my own little observations as we go through this story. Already, isn't it interesting how she went down one path initially of going to Colorado, but that didn't feel like the right path for her. Then she moved to Arizona, and that also didn't feel like the right path. And then she settled in Northern California, where she's been ever since. So before we've even met the love of her life, before that's even come up in this story, already we're hearing examples of how sometimes the universe shows you what you don't want to help you to get clearer on what you do want. So one place was too cold for her, another place was too hot, and just like Goldilocks, then the third place was just right. So if you feel like you've hit a couple of dead ends, or you've had a couple of experiences or relationships where it didn't end in happily ever after, just know that it's not the end. And this is all about learning what you don't want so that you also get clearer on what you do want. I've had that with relationships as well. But let's continue with Adriana's story. When I was getting my master's, I got a job as an intern in a counseling agency, and I became friends with one of the other interns. We hung out several times, movies, dinners, etc. And then he told me that he wanted to be more than friends. At that time, I was not into nice, reliable guys. I was more into ambivalent charmers, you could say. So I told him I just wanted to be friends, and that was pretty much the end of that. He understandably felt rejected, and while we saw each other a bit through the years, we went our separate ways. We both built successful private practices in our town. Awesome. I specialized in eating disorders, he in drugs and alcohol. We even referred clients to each other several times. I had heard he'd married and had a kid, and I had also married in my 20s for a handful of years, but in the end it was not a lifetime match. Fast forward a few decades. I had been single for a while and really wanting to meet someone. I did lots of dating, and I felt like I was in the mode of trying to find someone. I also constantly compared myself to coupled people and was left with a feeling of lack and dissatisfaction. She said, eventually came the day where I decided to stop trying. I decided that my life was blessed. I had a wonderful career, a wonderful home, wonderful friends, and a wonderful dog. I lived in a beautiful area and I could go to the beach and the forest whenever I wanted. I decided that this was more than enough. And she writes, the sweet relief of letting go. What if you could decide that your life was blessed? What do you think you will attract more of when you are radiating the vibration of someone who feels that their life is truly blessed? What do you think that you will attract more of when that is your dominant thought, that's your dominant vibration, and that becomes the story that you tell yourself? That becomes the identity that you choose to live your life by. And so with that feeling of being blessed, she also allowed herself to let go of trying and wanting and needing more. And she chose, this is the thing, often the reason why we struggle with letting go is because we think I have to keep trying, I have to keep holding on in order for me to end up getting this thing that I don't have. Whereas on the contrary, the great thing about our minds and about energy and about vibration is that when we let go of those low vibrational, stressed out, desperate, needy thoughts and vibrations, not only do we end up feeling better now about the exact situation that we're currently in, but that's how it works. Then we open up our clenched fist to receive more blessings. We open up our mind to be able to spot and be open to better things. We create more space in our life, in our energy, to allow serendipitous miracles to make their way in. It's really interesting, and I've experienced it recently myself. I've started to let go of the areas where I was trying really hard and where things weren't really even paying off from my hard efforts. And then I started to treat myself to doing more things that I enjoy for free. You know, these things don't have to be spa days or buying yourself a fancy handbag. I decided to be more gentle with myself, with my morning routine. I decided to treat myself to spending time outside in nature instead of just being on my computer all day. I decided to play the piano, which I haven't played for years, and then in between those activities of joy, ideas, fresh ideas would pop into my mind. Fresh inspirations have been popping in, and then I've taken action on those inspirations, and then more things are flowing in than ever before, and it feels like I'm working less. It's about changing your relationship with this sort of trying hardness, because that is intrinsically intertwined with a feeling of lack. So when we release that feeling of lack, we can sometimes even quantum leap or surge towards better things that we've been holding ourselves away from for a long time. She continues, several months into my living in enoughness. Ooh, isn't that delicious? Can we just... I got goose pimples. Can we just feel that for a second? Living in enoughness. Living in enoughness. What is living in enoughness? It's the opposite of constantly striving for more because what you have is not enough. It's a deep feeling of satisfaction that maybe the last time you felt it was when you were a child, and all that mattered was just, you know, a couple of toys and playing with those toys and pointing out every aeroplane in the sky, and that was enough. Several months into my living in enoughness, a friend of mine told me that she was trying out a few law of attraction exercises and asked if I wanted to join her. Not knowing much about the law of attraction at the time, I said yes, go on girl. She said there were two parts. First, we were to write down all of the qualities that we would want in a partner and make sure that we have those qualities in ourselves. For example, if I wanted a partner who was a good communicator and who had integrity, I was to make sure that I had those qualities as well. And if not, I needed to work on them. So I made a thorough list, did some self-assessments, and, as instructed, I tucked it away in a drawer as an act of surrendering to the universe. Next, my friend told me, once a day, for a few moments, we were to picture ourselves with an imaginary partner in a scene that felt enjoyable. So for a few moments a day, I would picture myself walking on the beach, holding hands with a man who adored me and who I adored. Then I would completely let it go, partly because that was part of the exercise, but mostly because I truly felt like I was living a blessed life and I really didn't need more. Seriously, Andrea, you were literally ticking all the boxes and teaching us every step of this process. I remained open to more if that was what the universe wanted, or if that was the universe's plan, but I didn't feel a sense of lack. So she's even ensuring that while she's doing these exercises, you could call it scripting, you could call it daily visualization, she's doing them from a place where she is content and happy and feeling like she's living in enoughness with the life that she has right now. Several months later, here we go. Let me just sip the tea here. Several months later, a co-worker from the agency where I interned asked me to go to a spiritual singles group with her. I told her I was not really doing the single dating kind of things, and she said, "Come with me, it'll be fun. It's just a group of people connecting and hanging out. I will be your date." So I went. The event really wasn't my cup of tea, but we did some group activities, and when it was over, the leader asked if I wanted to join the Facebook group to be alerted about upcoming events. She said that they were having a big bonfire on the beach the following week, and if I joined the Facebook page, I would get notified. At the time, I didn't even know what Facebook was, but I do love beach bonfires, so I said, okay. The next day, I got an email from the leader to join the spiritual singles group, and lo and behold, one click later, I noticed that one of the people in the group was the man who had asked me out years earlier when we were both interning to become therapists. Oh, I just love it. He saw that I had joined the group and we both acknowledged that we must now be single since we're on this spiritual singles Facebook page. Then she writes, I love that the universe has been like, go to this spiritual singles gathering, and it wasn't really her cup of tea, but it led her to a Facebook page. She didn't even have Facebook, so she had to create an account to ultimately discover or rediscover this man. The universe will always find a way. He asked if I was going to the upcoming beach bonfire, and I said yes. We reconnected at the bonfire event, and we seemed to have so much in common. He asked for my phone number, and we had a few really nice walks and meals and lots of fun, authentic emails. Only this time, he was in full-blown friend mode, and I was finally open to nice men. A few months went by, and still no moves on his end to be more than friends. After several more dates, a friend said to me, "Honey, you rejected him many years ago, and you're gonna need to let him know that it's safe to try again." A few days later, he and I were hanging out after a movie, and I said, "So, are we dating or are we hanging out as friends?" And he said, "What do you want it to be?" The rest, shall I say, is history and her story. We dated for about 3 years and then got married on my 50th birthday. That was over 12 years ago, and I could not ask for a more beautiful person to do life with. Incidentally, when we were moving in together, I found the list of qualities that was tucked away in my drawer, and he's about 99% of what was on it. Just saying. So that's my story. So what was Andrea's formula? First of all, she stopped trying. She allowed herself to see her life as blessed exactly as it is right now. That might feel like a real challenge in itself if you've had years of practice or societal pressure telling you that you have to be dissatisfied with your life. This is not giving up wanting a significant partner. This is not about choosing to be single for the rest of your life. This is about choosing to allow yourself to feel happy and find moments of joy now as well as later. Because are we seriously going to hold happiness away from ourselves until that moment comes? Isn't that a bit of a waste of our short, precious, fleeting lives? Would it not be a better life to look back on if we can see that we chose to see the blessings, we chose to feel the love, we chose to enjoy our life at every stage of it, at the single stage, at the couple stage, at the not so rich stage, at the very wealthy stage, at the childless stage, at the big family stage, at the doing a job that kind of just pays the bills stage, and at living your dream life with your dream career or business stage. Why not practice creating a life where you see your blessings and you feel happy and you feel blessed and you feel enough through all the different chapters as much as possible? I'm not saying deny yourself sadness. I'm not saying don't go to those dark emotions when you need to, because sometimes we do need to, okay? So don't, I'm not trying to toxic positivity you here at all. But what I'm saying is, if we delay our happiness for too long, then we end up just living one long life of dissatisfaction. And according to these laws of the universe, it can also just be delaying those blessings to us, because as Abraham Hicks says, you can't get there from there. You can't get to happiness from sadness. You can't get to absolute abundance from major fear, scarcity, and lack. Find a way, find something that you can feel comfortable with, that you can feel appreciative of, even if it's just your warm, cozy bed. I shouldn't say just. Having a warm, cozy bed is a major blessing. Having fresh, clean drinking water flowing abundantly from your tap is a major blessing. Being able to see or hear this video is a major blessing. And most of us are privileged to have those blessings in our life, and yet we may not be seeing ourselves as blessed, as privileged, and using those things as opportunities to feel gratitude. So she first got herself into that state of mind of living in enoughness and seeing her life as blessed. Then she wrote down a detailed, thorough list of all the attributes that she wanted in an ideal partner, and she did some self-reflection to check with herself, is she embodying those characteristics herself? Is she radiating those qualities? And she did work on herself to adjust any areas in her life where she was not being the person that she wants to attract. From there, she visualized daily a scene that represents a moment in her reality when she does have that partner, and she felt the energy of adoring and being adored. She felt that happiness. But at the same time, remember, while she was doing all of this, she was also completely content with the life that she had right now. That's the main thing that a lot of us forget. So, Andrea, thank you so much for sharing your incredible love life story with us. I'm so happy for you. that you have grown, healed, evolved, because she'd done a lot of healing and because she was seeing her life as already blessed, and she'd done that work on becoming that person that she had written in her list. Then at this later point in her life, she was ready to be open to having a relationship with a nice man, with a reliable man, with a kind man. So her type had changed from when she was younger. She had changed from when she was younger. Her concept of herself and what she deserved had changed. And therefore she was open the second time round to receiving that love from the same man who had offered it to her in the past, but she wasn't ready for it then. It wasn't aligned with what she was looking for then. It's just such a gorgeous story of healing and growth and transformation and happy endings. If you enjoyed this video, give it a major thumbs up. Give it loads of love in the comments. Let's fill this video with so much love. Let's give Andrea so much love. She is an absolute pro, by the way, at what she does. She supports people. She counsels people through a number of different topics. She says in particular her topics that she covers are eating disorders, body image, anxiety, and insomnia. I encourage you to go and check out her meditations or her courses if it resonates with you, if she feels like someone you'd like to have in your corner. All her details are in the description below. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring my bell so that you never miss another video. Also, I have opened up a few slots for some one-on-one coaching with me, if that's something that you're interested in, to support you on your manifestation journey. The details are also in the description below. You deserve the best. Keep allowing yourself to be the best, to radiate the best, and to attract the best. And in the meantime, to enjoy all of the blessings that are around you already. You are so blessed. Until next time, bye.